again, I've talked about this before, how much I hate our media. The media normalizes this now, and they don't call it out because they want to both sides everything, and they want to make sure, and I understand the journalistic integrity of, we don't want to make it look like we're rooting for a side here, but this is not George Bush or Jeb Bush, as we'll get into, versus versus Joe Biden. It's Donald Trump, who is a direct threat to the democracy of the United States.
But they at least should be fair with the reporting. It's like, because Biden doesn't give them anything that's salacious, they're stuck with reporting on the stupid polls and the age.
Yeah. So since you brought that up, there was a new ABC poll that recently came out, and I'm sure you've seen it, where they said that Donald Trump was leading Joe Biden in this poll by 10 points. Now, according to their own poll, I mean, ABC literally came out and said that this poll was an outlier, that it, may not be as it seems.
You think?
Well, also, too, it says that Donald Trump was leading young people over Joe Biden by 20 points.
Right. Like, come on.
And ABC has a lot of credibility in their polls. Is there something to it? Obviously, we seriously doubt it, especially since they even admitted that, their own poll is an outlier. But the fact that there is even a poll that suggests that Donald Trump is not even just ahead by 10 points, he's ahead by 0.00001 points, really is, it's really concerning. And again, I harken back to this a million times, is that, we have two medias here now, where we used to just basically have one media, and the media was like, let's just report the news, let's just tell everybody what's happening, and then you make a decision. Now the news is making decisions for you, and there is one side of the news that is 100% basically lying to make those decisions for you, as opposed to another media that is not necessarily calling out some of the things, and they're even giving into polls like this. And they're, I'm sure you've seen a lot lately, where, in fact, in this poll, they're talking about Joe Biden's age still. And that, I'm just telling you, that's just, it drives me nuts that we're talking about. It's not like, first of all, it's not like Joe Biden's running against a guy who's 57.
They're essentially the same age. I mean, I will give it to Morning Joe. Like, there are some media that, read the polls, but then laugh at them. Like, what is this? This is ridiculous.
Well, let me ask you, Lana. I mean, so laughing at them is certainly something, is the first thing that I think about doing. But do we take any of this seriously? Is it something that we look at and go, all right, we all know fucking Donald Trump is not leading Joe Biden by 10 points. That's just not, and the reason why we know that is because every single other poll has it within a point, tied, Joe Biden's leading, so it's not true. But at what point do we take these seriously?
I don't take the poll seriously. I think we should just take he may win. Like, you don't need a poll to say that there is a possibility, if we don't all come out to vote, he will win. Like, fuck what the polls are saying. We control the polls, and the polls are only going to get a subset of individuals anyway. Because is the polls getting all these women that are having their rights being taken away, or that are being impacted by these abortion laws? Like, is the polls getting that? Because that's a big group of people, because we see it. We see what Wisconsin did. We saw what
Mhm.
Kansas did. Like we're seeing that these states are like, these women they're speaking out. Like it's
Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. And I've heard even Republicans say that, if we do not address the abortion issue correctly, we're going to lose this election. They're just going to lose it. And, you're right, too. We are paying attention to these polls, and we've seen other polls that have had us concerned. We thought there was supposed to be this gigantic red wave. And I'm not necessarily sure that that was even a poll thing. I think that might
right,
have been more of a media thing
right.
of,
Yeah,
again,
yeah, yeah,
trying to scare the shit out of people.
right,
And then next thing you know, there was no red wave. And historically, not only did Joe Biden hold on to the Senate, which almost never happens, they almost won the House. And they
right,
probably would have had there not have been a few gerrymandering laws that were not changed in the course of time,
right,
specifically in New York, where the Democrats probably would have held on to the House.
right, right. You know what drives me crazy?
I'm sure there's a lot, but let's listen to this one.
So, oh yeah, I just lost it. Um, it drives me crazy when they. Oh my god, I just lost. I should have wrote it
Oh, I'm
down.
sorry. Did I
No, no,
interrupt
no, no,
you?
no. It happened. No, because I was thinking like two or three things at once. Oh, they keep running out of. Okay, every news cycle they have like their analysts, and the analysts come on and say this is what the Dems need to focus on,
Hmm.
right? And they're all saying just the different things, and they're not getting the message out. It's the economy, they need to talk about that more. It's Biden's accomplishments, they need to talk about that more.
Hmm.
Or they need to highlight Trump's gaffes. Like, it's just like, you're not going to get it all. Like, it's impossible for the Democrats to have one message when there's so much fire and smoke going on. Like, how do you just be one message? I guess they need to find one that encompasses everything, but you're not going to be able to be like, make it a run on abortion at the same time that you're going economy. Like, something's got to give. Like, you got, I guess later on maybe they'll figure out
I was
what
just
that.
about to say that. I think that's a media sort of thing. They're like, let's get the clicks, let's get the views now, scare the shit out of people. So they're watching us and they're watching us. And then maybe around the 4 month mark to the or 5 month mark to the, then we just let loose and go, this guy's a fucking idiot. There's no
Right.
way you can let him. And that's a possibility. But to me, I hope that that's not true. And we're not saying that it is true. But if there is any truth to that, that's sickening. I mean, it makes me sick to
Yeah, I'm
think
talking about
that.
the Democrats too, though. Like, their messaging, like, what is their messaging right now of how do we get Biden, because
Well,
Biden's not going to be exciting. He's just
nope,
not. We
no.
can't wait for this man to be like this. And I think that's why everyone thinks of him as old, because even when Joe was 50, he was probably the same guy. He's
He was a little
boring.
bit more boisterous and a little bit more charismatic, and when he was younger. But you know, I've said this a million times, is that the difference is that I do believe that a lot of the Democrats are getting their message out there. The problem is that they don't have a media machine like the
Right,
Fox News is and all that. They
right,
just are on repeat, constantly
right,
repeat. Democrats
right,
suck. Democrats are going to take your
right.
kids. Democrats are going to take your guns. Democrats are going to, but and it
Yeah.
freaks people the fuck out.